All right, then welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're continuing our focus on the Nigeria Economic Summit. So they're having the summit today, and we're reporting to you live from that venue in Abuja, Hilton. Well, Frank Wicker Jr. joins us this day. This time he's the Director General of the group. Morning, and thank you for coming today.
Morning, gentlemen and lady.
I did, initially my budget ask Mr. Phillips, this is just going to be about talk, but we know that, yes, the essence of this talk is to galvanize all sorts of actions. But what kind of yardsticks, what kind of nudging do you think this would do to get us acting?
Well,
maybe we should start with the focus of the
it's the 19th Nigerian Economic Summit, the 19th in the 20-year history of the NESG. So it's very significant. It's also the first summit that we focused on a specific sector of the Nigerian economy, which is agriculture.
The previous ones have been about policies?
Mostly general in nature policies, general policies, general in nature kind of things. But this time around, we are focusing on a specific sector. And the choice of agriculture was very, very deliberate, very strategic, because we think that it holds the greatest promise for the diversification of Nigeria's economy. And that is why we're focusing on the theme, building agriculture as a business to diversify Nigeria's economy.
As a business?
Yes.
I know that people are into business for return on investment.
Absolutely.
I know that maybe this group would have considered, because we got a tweet from Sani saying, this is capital intensive.
Yes.
How does the group intend to focus on this part?
That is one of the very important aspects. It's going to be one of the very important sessions at this summit later this afternoon. And you have the major players in the financial services sector. You have also major players from outside of this country. You have the president of the African Development Bank Group. He's going to be here joining us as well this morning. And because we do realize from experience that people have had considerable difficulties in accessing credit. People have had considerable difficulties in accessing equipment. People have had considerable difficulties even accessing markets. Okay, even when you've produced it, you want to be able to take it to the market and things.
Storage of
that kind of
products.
storage. There's issues with storage. There's issues with evacuation. So all of these issues are going to be discussed at various sessions over the next 3 days. Okay, because today, if you're looking at an economy, you must be able to look at, the linkage, the full linkages within that economy. And so you cannot talk about farming or agricultural production without talking about its evacuation, without talking about its processing, without talking about its storage, without talking about how I want to keep farmers, producing and things like that. So we have a full program which is going to look at the entire, cycle, the entire value chain of agriculture.
That's huge.
If I may put that way. Sorry?
That's huge.
No, that's huge. And then people must not look at this as a one-time conversation. It must not be looked at as a one-time conversation. It's going to be something that will continue. Okay? But one thing that we're determined to do with this summit is to really put agriculture front and center stage, as to borrow that cliche, to really put it out there. And I'm going to say something a little provocative. It is not the business of government. Yes, from a policy perspective, from perspective of trying to, put in place a conducive environment, as we like to say. But in terms of taking agricultural endeavor forward, in terms of investments, in terms of development, we believe that it is the citizens, it is entrepreneurs, it is the commercial farmers, it is, everyone all hands need to be on deck. That is part of what we're trying to achieve with this summit. If you look at the nature of this economy, the fact that 90% of our revenue comes from oil, it's dangerous. It makes the economy it makes our country really vulnerable. Okay? If you look at the size of our population, the fact that we import a whole lot of food, estimates ranging from $5 billion to $10 billion every year. Estimates that suggest, for instance, that for every dollar you earn as a country, you spend 60 cents on food import. These are dangerous. It undermines not just food security, but in fact national security.
Exactly. So
if you can't feed yourself, I don't know what else you can say for yourself as a human being, not talk about as a nation. It's dangerous.
Is it deliberate that this was couched in terms of looking at growing agriculture as a business? Is that why you couched it like this rather than looking at, say, food security, for instance?
No, what we're trying to do, the point we're trying to make is that agriculture must not be viewed, or we should stop viewing agriculture as a social service, as some social sector, and therefore, no, it's for poor people. Just give them fertilizer, give them a few things, let them just get on with it. No,
that's why you have these
agriculture is a
testimonies.
business.
Agriculture is a business. Testimonies from farmers.
Yes, there are people who, on account of the new set of policies, the initiative, the programs, the kind of push that has been given under Dr. Kimwumi and under the leadership of President Jonathan, who have now embraced agriculture, who have benefited from all sorts of initiatives, like I said, and who have seen that indeed it is feasible, is viable, and it's doable, and it's profitable. Okay? But you know what? You're talking about a population of 160 million. Many more people need to take interest in this. Not just, even if it's just for themselves. Okay? But talking about diversifying Nigeria's economy, and then the focus on agriculture, we cannot afford to continue with just subsistence farming. Okay? If you want this to really happen the way we would like to see it happen, then we need to encourage people to invest massively in agriculture. Okay? Even if it's coming together as cooperatives, if it's coming together as maybe groups of entrepreneurs who want to just, really make it for economies of scale. Okay? We've had the Ministry of Agriculture talk about things like the staple crop processing zones, okay, around the country, where the whole idea, as I understand it, is to really focus on specific crops that are native to certain parts of the country, and therefore create, zones where you can put in place infrastructure and other services that you require for us to exploit the entire value chain of those crops. Okay? Now, these are very deliberate measures. Okay? And we think that these things need to be supported, these things need to be sustained over a period in order for us to realize the full benefits of the entire
I'm just thinking, on a lighter note, do you think my boss would have made a mistake to allow me to attend this summit? Will I be tempted to say, well, I think I'm done with this tie, let me try agriculture, if I listen to the summit from start to finish?
That's one of the objectives. And now that you've said it, I'm going to make sure it happens.
But talking more seriously, because...
Who said that wasn't serious?
There's a lot of money there.
Gentlemen, I tell you, right, there's a session.
That's why the word is more seriously. It's talking more serious.
Yes.
They would like you in on that session. I'm trying to look at some other areas. One is we are talking